apologized to my mother, my father. I mean, shit, even my daughter, even a little bit in, my daughter very much has watched me grow up, But I think my daughter's the one getting the changed behavior. Yeah. She's getting the apologies with the changed behavior. My parents are finally seeing.
How old is your daughter?
She's 11. And she very much has watched me and her father grow up, and kind of figure out where we're at. I had her when I was 25, and like I said, all of this shutdown and regrowth didn't even begin till 30.
So were you with her father in a committed relationship where you were pretending to be emotionally available, or?
Do you all even, let's start with, do you all even get along?
Such a good question.
We get along very well. We get along very well now. It took us a very long time. I think there's always going to be a level of attachment emotionally, not necessarily on my end, maybe a little more sentimental on his.
But you guys were together for a while. It wasn't just like
we knew each other for about 4.
And you got pregnant, right? Like you were together.
You're right. It was. We knew each other for about 4 years, and it was literally it was a group of 5 of us, and we all found this solace in each other, and it was like, all right, well, you can get fucked up, and we can do this, and we can take rides, and we can go pick this drug up, and we can all meet back around a handle of rum, and that was just Tuesday. That was just Tuesday. Friday, it was 2 handles of rum.
What were you trying to drown?
I didn't know, and I think it was myself.
No, I'm not drowning.
Looking back, I think I was trying to drown myself. I think I can remember thinking I can't pull the trigger, but alcohol can do it. This bag of cocaine can do it.
Oh, look.
This when the weed's not going to do it.
It's
never strong enough. It's never going to do it.
I need to go to sleep. Bring the weed.
Yeah. So by the time she was conceived, we had only been together for 6 months. And even then, I didn't know him sober. He didn't know me sober. We didn't know ourselves sober. It had just been 5 years of 5 friends fucking around.
Was there
not progressing in life, literally plateauing, literally the same shit every day, every week.
How were you guys making money?
We all had little odds and ends jobs. And that's the thing, is that the house we were in, the 2 of us that owned it, we didn't know it, but just had outright stopped paying the mortgage. So we thought bills were getting paid. They weren't. Money was going to drugs. That's the way it was. Drugs and alcohol. That's just the way it was.
Okay, and then what was the catalyst to stop?
So he and I started dating. We started humping. And then, so we started dating. We started to, instead of spending the day drinking, we'd go hiking. I got back into hiking. I've been hiking since I was a teenager.
Right.
All my friends would head east to the city, and I would head west to the mountains and the river.
Clarity.
Yeah, that's where my daddy would take me. So, that's where I was peaceful as a child. So why not go back to where I found that peace to begin with? So he and I started hiking again. It had been years. We started hiking again. We would still party, but just at night. Now the partying was at night. It just wasn't all day. And the other dynamics in that group didn't like that. They weren't ready to level up in life. They weren't ready. So then when she was conceived, this is how bad it was, guys. I knew I had to take a pregnancy test. I knew I had to go pee. What creates pee? 3 shots of rum back to back.
Wow.
Even though I knew what I was about to do.
Right.
And for what reason? And of course, it shows up positive.
You're like, shit.
Those are my last 3 shots of
You
rum.
don't talk about self-loathing. I mean, you don't, yeah.
and literally life did a 180 in that moment. Life did an absolute 180. I went from 94 pounds, the most unhealthy I had been in my life at 24 years old, to, by the time I delivered, I was 145 pounds. The doctor told me, if you want it, eat it. You want a cheeseburger? You want your bun to be 2 Krispy Kreme donuts? Go for it. And I did. And I sobered up almost immediately. I did the impossible. I put cigarettes down.
Wow.
Like all of it.
So the baby.
It all happened. Everything. So here she comes. But now I'm looking at this man sober.
It ain't the same.
He wasn't as good, was
He ain't the same.
That's the thing. It wasn't even. He's a good-looking dude to this day. He's aging well.
No,
I will give him that. But I didn't see him the same.
It's funny. I always said it's kind of sad. I would hate for a young man to come to my door knock on the door, and I open it, and physically I don't see me, but I see me.
Right.
I'm a
Well, you saw the difference between your friends and your party friends, right? That's what
That's where it is.
That's
Okay,
where it is,
so
yeah.
this is where when you do start to level up and you do start to, you know what, I don't the party's over for me.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared to say goodbye to everything, you've known in that chapter. It all has to go.
Yeah.
And I saw him sober up a little bit, but I still saw it in him. I saw him differently. It's not that I loved him less. It's just that I saw him differently, and now I'm seeing myself differently.
So when you sobered up, did he sober up or did he continue that?
He did.
same
Oh my
party?
God, bless his heart. He put on pregnancy weight with me and everything.
Yeah.
He swole like a tick.
Nice.
He swelled up. Yeah, like he did. We had talked about getting married after she turned a year old because I wanted my body to go back to normal. I wanted to get to know him.
Sober him and sober you.
Correct. And we talked about that. And then his mother was not, this was when I was still pregnant. His mother was not okay with that baby being born out of wedlock. So that Christmas, there was a ring in my one of my presents. And I said yes, because I'm pregnant, I'm overwhelmed, and this is great. And so long story short, guys, I sobered up. She's 9-10 months old now, and I can't. I'm 6 months away from a wedding to a man that I don't know, a me that I don't know.
Right.
When
The biggest part of that is that right there.
Yes.
Or the you that you're getting to know.
Correct. I'm not done. Guys, when I tell you I caught the wedding invitations a week before they were mailed. To both sides
How
of
did
the
he
family.
react to that?
He's still
It was-
reacting. He's still Sean is he's still reacting.
It was a hammer to the temple.
Sean, if you ever do listen to this, sorry we said your name.
bad.
Quick question. Just going back to your period from high school to the pregnancy to the kid. 2-part question.
Sure.
Did you feel love? And what does love? What did you define love as back then? I know you probably define love differently now.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
what did you feel loved back then? Whether it's from parents, friends, or your partner, and what did you feel that love was back then? And then I'll ask another question then later on.
Okay. So I got to switch back to the back then. That takes me back to like family and friends. I absolutely felt support and understanding from my friends. I had great friends in high school who I really did feel understood me. My parents always supported me. I have amazing parents. I really do. But I never felt like they understood me.
Shout out to Jim and Tony Shreve.
Love you guys. No, I never felt understood, especially by my mother. My mother and I are very
Polar opposites.
we're as women, as women. And as women. I was going to say as people, but no, more so as women. We're two different women, but I think I absolutely needed her, that type of woman for a mother, and who maybe she needed me as a daughter. I don't know, but I never felt understood by my parents. Always supported, always loved, absolutely, but never understood. And I think I think that's where you're going. What I would have defined as love back then, I wanted. Okay, this is weird. I said my age, but now I'm gonna show it. Titanic was in movie theaters, guys. I saw it 3 times in the movie theaters. I wanted that. I wanted explosive, passionate, deep. Oh, I can't live without you. But I didn't know what it took to have that, what it took to cultivate that, what it took to find that. But I wanted that. I wanted that. That undying devotion. That was love to me back then. Fire.
Do you feel that because you didn't know yourself back then, that's why you couldn't feel that explosive love?
I thought I sought it in everything, every relationship, and of course I got it in the beginning of every single one.
The golden period.
So did you Did you go into it with like explosive expectations?
Absolutely.
And then everybody let you down?
Absolutely. One of Buddha's noble truths. Suffering is caused by desire. I wanted that, and I got it briefly. And there again, just like the drugs and the high, what goes up must come down. And I jumped ship every time it came down.
So did you feel, because of that letdown and that disappointment, going into more and more relationships and more friendships, you just didn't give a fuck anymore?
Correct. But I also, there again, but that, to me, that goes back to, I didn't give a fuck about me anymore.
Why is that?
I didn't know what to do with any of what I was feeling. So fuck it all. That's what it came down to. You can ask my siblings. There was always a point, or my friends. There's always a point where fuck it.
Fuck
I'm
this.
overwhelmed.
Fuck it has
Fuck
led
it.
a lot of people to a lot of shit.
Her fuck it though went from being like it would take her 3 years to get to a fuck it point, or 18 months to get to it. There was some longevity.
Sure.
To there was not to
No, go
make
ahead.
you speak on anything.
No, go
but
ahead.
there were some violations of trust that happened with her in a relationship, and that I think that was where our friendship really kind of took hold, was during this time. And the violation of trust that she experienced, I mean, genuinely at that point, she was like, I've got bricks and I've got cement and I am building this wall. And there's like 3 people that are allowed on this side. And that's you, my mama, and my daughter.
Yeah.
Like literally,
Yeah.
that was we were the only
Brick
3
by brick.
people allowed on that other side of the wall from her. And everybody else could kick rocks. And if you get close to the wall, cool for you, but you're not getting over.
I don't know if any of you have been to Europe or experienced any European castles, but there's
The moat.
the moat. But if you just so happen to make it past that moat, you're lucky enough to make it past them alligators and them sharks in that moat. Guess what? There's this thing called a murder hole, and it's right above the entrance, and that's where they drop the hot tar.
Oil. There you go. The hot oil's coming up. You're not climbing this wall. Here comes the hot
telling you.
tar. Here comes the arrows. Here comes the.
Well, and Stephanie, I'm going to use that as a segue. Is okay. So that I got my construction tools out, right? Mm-hmm. I got burned. I had enough. I had enough of myself. See, like that's another thing, is let's make that perfectly clear, is I had enough of myself. I was tired of being in my head. I felt this was a prison. Yes, there's some clinical depression. Yes, there's ADHD, and I'm pretty sure there's a pill that can help it. And well, that's another conversation, but I guess I was sick of myself. I had sobered up once, and then I fell again, and that fall was pretty epic. You know, you can hit rock bottom, and we've talked about this. You can hit rock bottom,
But there's a basement door.
and find out that bitch has a basement.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a springy something there.
It's got a basement.
Can I ask you this question?
Yeah.
And this kind of, I don't know, just thought about it. Did you ever think that you built that wall not so much to keep everybody out, but to keep you from everybody else?
What's that one quote from that one movie? Is I'm not stuck in here with you.
You're stuck in here
You're
with
stuck
me.
in here with
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who was that? I just,
It was some
I'll get it later. And I'll
anti.
show it.
Yeah.
Can you
yeah.
talk about what the basement of the rock bottom was like?
Yes.
If you want to.
I can. I will. I do. So I separate. It is a huge turmoil. It is a huge. I separate from Ella's dad. We eventually, after the next couple years, fall into a routine that we actually still kind of hold to this day. I'm a bartender. That's my industry. I work weekends. He works during the week. His family owns a trucking company, so they, he runs the yard, and so that's just the way it worked out. I'm Monday to Friday. He's Friday to Sunday, and we have created routines in between. My daughter gets to break bread with mom and dad, but it wasn't like that in the beginning. It took forever, and in the process of that forever, that is when I fell right back into, the bartending, the glitz, the glamour, the cocaine. Like it's just too easy. It's just because it walks through the door every Friday night. And I'm working long hours. I'm working 16-hour shifts. I mean, Stephanie, you saw it. I was working 60-hour weeks.
Yeah.
Friday,
You know.
Saturday, Sunday.
Thursday to Sunday, yeah. Like or back then it was Thursday to Tuesday, but still it was tough. And so it just started out, well, it's not alcohol. Alcohol, before I got pregnant, alcohol was my problem. Not really the drugs.
Right.
And it's keeping me awake. I justified everything.
Oh, yeah.
I justified everything. And then, of course, what's liquid outside of the alcohol and the spirits in my industry? The cash. It's too easy.
It's always rolling in.
Too easy. Put a beer up on the bar, a 50s under the cocktail napkin. You go to clear that empty bottle, pick up the cocktail napkin. Your drugs is right there, waiting for you. It was too easy. So you fall back into it, right? And I got to a point where I did. I wanted to leave. I got a job offer at a private golf course that is a little more local to Warrenton. Very prestigious people. Actually, one of my claim to fame in the 18 years I have in this industry behind the pine is I got to wait on President Obama and Michael Jordan at the same table.
Nice.
I served them 2 martinis each and a bottle of red wine. Oh, and Ahmad Rashad was at the table too.
All right.
Like greatest shit in my life. Oh my gosh. Michael Jordan said my name.
Hey.
It was awesome.
Hey.
But at the very same time, that pendulum we've talked about, it swung back. And because of the personalities that were members there at that golf course, very entitled, very, I see it, I want it, it's mine.
Yep.
The world is mine.
Everything is mine if I want it.
Including that bartender.
Mm-hmm. You're just a piece of property here. Yeah.
So I experienced my first sexual assault, physical, and it didn't go as far as, I mean, I guess any of it could be classified as rape, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't that full-blown episode of SVU, Law and Order.
Right.
But I had to physically fight my way out. And at that point, I made that switch because I wanted to get away from the Friday night cocaine walking through the door. But the minute that happened, I wanted right back in.
But you don't realize, too, that you might find more of that at that ritzy, fancy.
Probably better quality.
Yeah.
I was about to say uncut.
Yes. Yeah. the Colombians find their way here much faster than
Fish
they
scale.
do.
The fish scale. I was about to say,
scale.
yo, and it's not, no lie. I've actually,
I'm proud of you.
I've seen fish scale.
I'm proud of you.
What is
No,
fish
the-
scale? Excuse me for someone who's
So
not in
when
drugs.
the more
yeah.
cocaine gets stomped on being the more it gets cut with, be it the baby laxatives or whatever, because the further down the line it goes, the thinner it gets, and you want to make it last longer. You want to sell more.
Oh, so
right.
fish scale is bad.
Fish
No,
scale
that's
is
pure.
beautiful.
Oh,
You
that's
want
perfect.
fish
That's
scale.
okay.
Yeah.
So fish scale is what it is before it gets cut with
Got it.
anything.
Okay,
no
so
baby
that's good.
laxatives, no bullshit, no nothing.
And
And,
if you
and
look
it
at
literally,
it, it
it's a
looks like
rainbow
fish
shit.
What did you say
Yeah.
your boyfriend is jealous?
He's
He
jealous.
could probably find a more
Rocks.
proper term of
I'll
rock.
be
Yeah.
sure to ask for that.
But
golf
it
course.
does.
You want the fish scale.
Oh, I know the golf course again. We're not going to say names.
The yellow, the better.
But no, fish scale, it literally glistens. It glistens. You can smell the kerosene right off of it before it's even out of the bag. It's insane. I used to say I don't love cocaine, but I don't like cocaine, but I love the way it smells.
I'll go back to it. I'm proud of you. Thank you. The reason why I'm proud of you is I didn't know if you were going to go there.
Oh.
I knew I was.
And I didn't want to push the subject.
No. I knew I was.
But I think
You can't tell this story without
It's
including
an
it.
important part of your story.
Okay, so we're following it. We're at the golf course. There's the assault.
So this
bad
happens,
things.
right?
Okay.
So I get out of that. But I got out of that and took a swan dive right back into. So it was another year of drug abuse. And I ended up snorting myself broke. And here's the thing: is I never owed the streets money, ever. The two
damn streets.
the two dudes that I dealt with through those years, they rocked with me because Shorty always came with money.
Right.
Shorty
Right.
never called if she didn't have money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I never owed them. I never owed the streets money. And so when I made those phone calls, it was without a doubt. It was when I wanted it. It was on my schedule, my terms, not theirs. It was just too easy. And I took a swan dive into it. And I remember at one point, one of them, I became good friends with one of them to where we had in-depth conversations, over drugs.
Wow.
And he said, "What are you doing?"
You know, it's something.
It's bad when you're
drunk.
When your dealer's like, yo, what
Hey,
Let
are
me
you
check.
doing,
Let me
dude?
check, shorty, because
Yes.
You are my main source of income.
Yes.
But let me ask
Do
you
you
this.
know how smart you are?
Yeah.
Do you know the hustle in you? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And he would ignore me. It got to the point where sometimes he would ignore me, and I knew what he was doing. He was ignoring me because he felt like he was
wanted
helping
to
me.
straighten you up, yeah.
Right? Yeah. So that was a huge moment. I can't say that there was any. Yes, there was.
It wasn't. There's one moment.
So I did. Right. Okay. So I started to realize I need to check myself, but it's not easy. I never went to AA. I never went through a rehab process. You hear about them, but going back to why I brought up why I never owed the streets money is I snorted myself broke, but I never went into debt. Okay. My kid's still 8. I did end up having to move back in with my parents. So I didn't have rent to pay. I didn't have those financial obligations anymore. That's why I ended up snorting myself broke. My bills were always paid in full. My kid ate. My kid had, I absolutely used the child support on her shoes, her socks, her
Right.
whatever.
But that's got to be a wake up call, right? You're in your parents' basement or wherever. Your
Where?
parents.